Hello everyone, Android user here, and welcome to the mobile arena. Today will be the last time that you hear the term Android user referring to myself, because I've changed the name of this channel to Mobile Arena for a few reasons. I've been using this Motorola device called XT701 for 2 years. It has brought me a lot of benefits. Without it, I would not be where I am with Android today and know so much about ROM development, only because of how terribly designed and abandoned that this device was. So I have to thank this device for giving me the need to learn so much about Android and where I am right now. But having used it for 2 years, I decided to try something new. I decided to go the other way, and I took the leap of faith and I bought the iPhone 5, and I'll be using it as my daily driver, my phone. And because of my purchase, I decided to create a series regarding my experience with the iPhone 5. I feel like I've only been using it for a week and I already have a lot of things that I want to talk about, some pros and cons about using the device. So I'll be making a series every week or so until eventually there are no more things to talk about because I've gotten used to it or I've returned this overpriced device. Either way, you will also be seeing a lot more variety of apps from the iPhone. I'll be reviewing Apple applications as well, as opposed to before where I only reviewed Android apps. Now you may be wondering, what about the Android users that has been subscribed to my tiny channel from the beginning? Well, don't worry, because I've also gotten the Nexus 7. So don't worry if you think that I'm abandoning Android or anything, because I've gotten the Nexus 7 that I'm using and I'm sharing with my family, and hopefully I'll continue to be updated with Android with this device. I'll be reviewing a lot of tablet applications and normal Android apps with this. So with the power of the 7 and the 5, I'll be reviewing both Android and iPhone applications on this channel. Hence the change of the name to Mobile Arena. I always thought the smartphone market was sort of like a competition, like an arena, like they're just manufacturers fighting at. That's why I really like the term Mobile Arena, and I'm glad that it's not taken anywhere else on YouTube. Unfortunately, I cannot change my username, which is Android user, but hopefully Mobile Arena will catch on. Now on to the main topic. I'll be doing one of these vlogs about the iPhone 5 every week or so, and I'll talk about some of the pros and cons of switching from an Android user to an iPhone user. And there are just some things that I want to talk about that is good and some things that are bad, so let's get into it. I have the iPhone 5 here with me, and I've been using it for a week, so I'm just going to talk a bit about the pros and cons of this device so far from my experience. I'm going to start off with the good. For one thing, the responsiveness of this device is very nice. It is very instantaneous, and that always has been one of the great things about the iPhone, is that how fast and smooth it is, the interface in general. And I also want to talk about apps that it offers. So I know that Android has a lot of apps, but I feel like so far from what I've played, the quality of the apps is just staggering. I feel like it's so much on par compared to some of the apps that I've seen, and I can understand because Android has a bigger approval of applications that can be allowed, whereas Apple goes through a more thorough processing of which apps can be on and which apps cannot. So I find that to be quite useful. And as you can see, I already have a few pretty useful apps that I've downloaded, such as Battery Doctor, Documents 2, and some fun games like Spirit and Ski Safari, which I will be reviewing next. Another great thing about this device is the keyboard. Now, I always thought that the keyboard was actually bad from what I've heard because of sites like Damn You Autocorrect and people talking about how bad autocorrect is, but I can say, just using this for a week, that the keyboard is phenomenal. Everybody talks about how great it is, and I can say that it is very smart. I feel like a lot of times it knows what I'm saying it has that kind of swift key quality to it, and I'm very surprised at how smooth that it runs. It has made texting a lot faster, and it's just in general, it makes everything a lot smoother when I'm texting, whether on WhatsApp or messages or when I'm on MSN on the iPhone. Another thing that I'm going to talk about is the battery. Now, the battery of this device has the same capacity as my old phone, and I know I keep comparing to it, and it's not fair for Android because it's such an old phone, but the battery for Apple for the iPhone 5 is about 1400 something, and the battery life on this just seems very, very sturdy. I only charge it once a day and sometimes even every 2 days, and I feel like it's such a triumph because the phone is so thin itself. It is very thin, and yet the battery life can last pretty long. And I don't know about other people, but then I feel like the battery life just shines on this device. Most of the time I can get it to run with like 3 or 4 hours of usage, which is very rare for the phone I was using before. I'm not sure about the latest Android phones out there, but even my friend who's using the One X has trouble maintaining a charge throughout the day, whereas for this one I can easily have around 50 to or 40% at the end of the day after 12 or more hours.